Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. We are back. Hey, welcome to Dioko's podcast. I am no more your host. And first and foremost, I would like to thank you guys for bearing with me. We had a brief vacation here for a minute, so we didn't get a podcast out for a little while. For that, let me first apologize to you. But in our hiatus, I talked to a few friends, talked to a few people, and I learned a few things, right? A lot of you are wondering how long does it take to get to where you're trying to go? Well, I can't tell you how long it's going to take you. I can only talk to you about how long it took me, right? The first thing I want you to know is it will not happen overnight. So if you're under the impression that you're going to come up with an idea, come up with the business plan, a business model, and tomorrow you're going to be rich, don't do it because more often than not, it's not going to work that way. See, I've been in several different ventures. I wouldn't say I failed in them. The reason I say that truly is because in each and every one, I always learn something, right? Like every single business venture or idea or whatever I executed, I always picked up a new skill, picked up a few dollars. I don't have anything that I did that I didn't make money in. I do have some things that I did that I found out wasn't really what I wanted to do. It wasn't really my passion, but I did learn something in everything. I talked to you guys before about how I was in multi level marketing at one point, the network marketing thing, right? What that actually taught me, well, first and foremost, I will say I didn't strike rich or off of multi level marketing or make, millions of dollars or any of those things. I did okay. I made a few dollars. I did a few things. I was able to make some things happen, pay some bills here, that, and the other. What I learned though, I learned the skills required to build teams. I learned the team building skill. I learned the importance of building a team. I think for a lot of us, we like to say we got it out of the mud or we did it on our own. Excuse me, we did it on our own. And that's not necessarily true for most of us, for just about all of us, actually. Someone was there, someone helped, because there's no way you can do all the things on your own, right? Or it's very unlikely that you can achieve all the things on your own. So, network marketing taught me, first and foremost, team building, how to build a team, how to make a team go, the importance of having a team, right? The second thing was I did do moderately successful. So, if you ever been to one of those network marketing or multi level marketing events, there comes a time when they bring a guy out that's supposed to talk to you about the opportunity or speak to you about the opportunity. And in my city, I kind of became that guy. Like I was at just about every meeting, doing the speaking, doing the closing, telling people about the opportunity, things of that nature. And I got real comfortable with speaking in public, which is something that I hadn't really had to do up until that point. Not necessarily at a high level anyway. I mean, of course, you speak in public from time to time in school or whatever those things are, but never to the magnitude that I had to do in this. So it wasn't really that I don't want to go on and saying like, I was some great public speaker, but I actually learned the skill of public speaking in network marketing. Another thing that I did along the way was being a club promoter. Number one thing you have to learn in club promotion is how to navigate trends, how to dare to be different. What makes my events cooler than yours, or so forth or so on? What makes you want to come to my party or my show versus someone else's? Because I don't know what city you're in, but in the city that I was in at the time, I wasn't the only person doing it and I wasn't the only event of the night. So to make my money or to make my nut, for lack of a better word, I had to figure out how to draw people in with something unique, right? So I learned how to navigate trends. I learned how to get people in the peak of what they wanted to do and provide that so that I would be different from everyone else. Um, of course, after doing club promotions, that kind of me into my first entertainment company because it started off as club promotions and then it kind of moved into something a little bit different. And when I say entertainment company, I'm going to include a couple other things like artist management, the record label that I ended up starting, the distribution and publishing company that came out of that. Like, once we got into the entertainment thing, we kind of found several different ways to make that work. Some of those things we still do, some of them we don't. I won't get in too much into that. But the entertainment company taught me the importance of managing a team. Everyone that says they're with you, not necessarily with you. They're there for what they are there for. They're there for what they need, and we kind of touched on that before. But you have to learn how to manage and navigate those things because the world's selfish, right? So, like everyone has their own motive for what they're doing. You just have to find out how to make. You have to figure out what their motives are and how does that work for you, right? How can you use that in your business model? And I think if you can figure that out, then you can figure out quite a bit. Within the entertainment company, we started up artist management for a few independent artists. I don't know how many out there of you have ever been in the music business, but the first thing you'll find out in the music business is, oh my God, there are so many shiesty people and so many vultures all trying to pull the same move on everybody. Um, and so you have to learn how to move in that room full of vultures. You have to learn how to navigate through, for lack of a better word, how to navigate through the BS, right? Dealing with, and then dealing with the artists because some of them are very prima donna and some of them just don't really know what they need to do or how they need to do it. And you're either working for that person or working with that person. And so in artist management, I didn't choose to work for anybody, but I chose to work with them. And the reason I chose to do that is because usually on an independent level, when you come in, there's not much there to manage. You're going to have to create it. So, to keep myself from working for free, I came up with some kind of a partnership to make sure we were both going to eat. That turned into me wanting to full fledged go into a record label. I don't know why it turned into me full fledged wanting to go into a record label because that's that was probably my most troubling or hardest task was running a record label. And reason being is because then you put a bunch of different individuals out there and in the music industry you run in the red for quite some time before you get into the black, right? And with several different artists, you can be in the red for years. I even heard Coach K and P from QC talking about it one time, and they were saying that like they were in the red for about the first 5 years of their business because they were kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. They were making money on one artist, but then spending it all back out on another artist, trying to hedge their bets to get multiple artists where they need to be. And it's a juggling act that you have to work with. I too experienced it. Um, didn't get, as great a return as they got, but I too understand exactly what they were talking about in that because there is a lot of investing, believing in a return, and that return may be 8 months or 8 years away. You really don't know. You just have to put your head down and grind. But the one thing that the skill that I took away from owning a record label, truthfully, was identifying the dedication of others. You'll find you'll find in the music industry that you'll talk to people all the time, and those people will constantly tell you how ready they are and how dedicated they are to do the things they need to do to be successful. And a lot of that comes from, one, they don't know what it actually takes to be successful, and two, they really believe they are ready because, one, they don't know what it actually takes to be successful, right? A lot of artists realize that they see an artist one day and they just pop up. And so a lot of them believe that it's going to come a time when everything's just going to work out for them. They're not going to do anything but make a hit song and it's just going to blow up and the world's going to take over. And truthfully, it's not the typical way that works. Matter of fact, that's not the way that works at all. So it's a false belief, and it's something that most artists get into, and you have to, when you're running a label, figure out who's dedicated and who's not. Otherwise, you'll be spending a lot of money on people that are not going to get to the finish line under any circumstances because they just don't have what they need to have to get there, or they don't believe in themselves enough to get there. They don't feel that getting there is even feasible. So you have to truly start to identify what level of dedication do you have in each and every individual on your team and in your roster as an artist. So, those things can play a very heavy part, and you just want to make sure that you're identifying as quick as possible who was just saying it and who was really about it. Very, very important skill, and that's kind of that's not even kind of, that's absolutely what I learned by running a record label. And from running a record label, I realized that the whole record label experience for me really wasn't what I wanted. There's some things that I like about the record label. There's some things I didn't like about the record label. One, being financially responsible for someone else's career. Like, I hated that idea in totality. Because there's no way I can believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And I mean that from a financial standpoint, because I always felt like if you truly believed in what you were doing, you would put your money where your mouth is. People, more often than not, put their money in the things that they care about and believe in. So if you find yourself with an artist that isn't able to put their money into any of the things they need to be successful in the music industry, but they're able to put their money into going to the clubs and all the other things, then you just have to figure out where the values at, where their values are at, and then if it's not lining up with what you're trying to do, you got to leave them there, right? So that's a skill that I picked up in doing the record label. So far, just in different ventures, learn team building, public speaking, navigating a trend, managing a team, learning how to move in a room full of vultures. That's probably the most important one. Learning how to identify the snakes in the grass. I learned how to identify the dedication of other people. Very, very important skill, because when you're building a team, you're going to want to know who's successful and who's not, who's ready and who's not. So that's very, very important. Very, very important. With having a record label, what I actually found was distribution and publishing was my jam, right? Like, I love the distribution and publishing side of the industry, and that's why on today's front, that's why that's the company that I hold in entertainment, is the distribution and publishing company, because One thing I understood for a lot of independent artists is they don't understand just that. A lot of them understand what DSPs are, the digital service providers, that they can go and upload their music to and this, that, and the other, and they think they're done there. And it's so much other that has to be done. That's literally like, it's not even step one. It's not even the first step you should be doing, right? But it's the only step that most of them know. So what I learned in that, or how I learned to make that company something, was to show people the value in what knowing that information, or what having that information or that skill set could provide them. So I went into a realm inside that company of showing artists how to make things work in their favor. And that to me is a service, excuse me. That to me is a service that they didn't know they needed until you showed them that they needed it. So I would say in the distribution and publishing, the skill set I learned was showing the value of a service, showing people what values were in the particular service, because I mean, for most of them, they're just simply unaware, right? So these are, I mean, we're going through different business and different ventures that I've done. This is all over the last, I would say, it's 2024, almost 15 years, right? So this stuff goes back to like 2010 and work my way up from there. Um, we had a while back, we had a tax company, and that taught me a lot. That taught me a whole lot. But what it taught me most than anything was finding a demand for the supply I had, right? Because when we started a tax company, it wasn't like it was a new idea. Um, and everyone had went and got their taxes done somewhere, because you have to pay those every year, right? So every working class person that, because that's truly your customer base, right? Every working class customer that we ran into was already um, getting their taxes done somewhere, and we had to find a place, find an area where we could nestle in and accomplish that goal in a more convenient way for people. So identifying where to put that, what clients was we actually looking for, things like that, was that's a skill set that I was able to figure out in the tax company. Now the tax company did pretty well actually. We just, I don't know. I think as the world went digital, so did taxes, for the most part. So we just kind of phased out. But I mean, from a business standpoint, we did what we could while we could, right? And then there's the construction company. We got into construction, and the the thing that I actually learned, the thing that I would say I would learn more about construction than anything, was customer service, because I'm not a person genuinely who really feels or cares about how other people are feeling or caring. And in the construction company, when you're going, you're trying to make somebody's idea, dream come alive in their kitchens and bathrooms, and putting new decks on and things of that nature. There is so much more that goes into that other than swinging a hammer, right? Like getting your guys to swing a hammer is one thing, but there's so much that has to go in that before you actually swing that hammer. There's so much you have to do from a customer service standpoint that we really had to figure out what we could do there. So I would say that I learned my customer service skills mainly from running a construction company. Now, some of these, as we divulge, are things that I still do. Some of them are not. Thus far, the distribution and publishing company is something that I still hold near and dear. The construction company is something that I still hold near and dear. But my main bread and butter these days is as a real estate investor, right? And for those of you who don't understand what I mean by that, I'm a fix and flip guy. I find distressed properties, buy them, remodel them, and sell them back out to the masses. For profit, of course. I mean, that's 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 my niche. That's actually what I love to do the most. And reason being is because a lot of the times, more often than not, the homes are going to be my clientele actually are going to be more first time home buyers and or other investors, oddly, right? So, and when I say other investors, I mean we redo a home and then someone puts it in their real estate portfolio as a rental, and that's fine also. But what I really like about it is watching people become homeowners, right? And a lot of when you're doing fix and flips, a lot of who you're dealing with are first time home buyers. They're coming in and they're buying this diamond in the rough that you found, that you've buffed up and showed everybody that it could be shiny and pretty too. And you learn real quick that it's peaks and valleys in this business, right? My wife and I both do things in real estate, and there's a guaranteed slow season for just about everyone in real estate, and it's really the fourth quarter of the calendar year because fiscal years change. So I'm gonna say of the calendar year, right? So those last 3 months of the year become very, very slow because the holidays and other things, and people aren't moving and things like that. So it kind of dries up. So you really got about 9 months to make what you're gonna make for the year, right? And so the one thing, I'm not gonna say the one thing because I've picked up a lot of skills, but I think the thing I picked up most importantly than all is financial management. um, Making sure that I have enough finances to make it through a year when I know I'm only going to work 9 months a year. And to this point, I've actually set up in my schedule to take the last 2 months of the year off every year. So like from November and December are non-working months for me, right? So I'm pretty much not doing anything. I'm actually on the cusp of finishing up a flip right now so that I don't go into November working, and I got about 11 days to get there. So, oh, let's hope we can get there. I do not want to go into, and if I do go over, as soon as this one's done, I'm actually done. So it'll cut off right at the cutoff of this. That'll be it for the year for me. So that's kind of my goal point is to kind of cut off right there at November and be done with it. Um, so hopefully that still works out this year. But no, financial management is what I learned mostly in my current niche because, one, you don't know when your payday is coming. And you don't know when your next payday is coming after this one. So you have to be able to get very, very good at managing your finances. Now, granted, there's going to come a time when you're gonna get to a place where the money's so good that most people would say it don't matter. Um, it always matters. There's never a point in time when how your finances are coming and going does not matter. I don't care how much you get. I don't care how much comes, how much goes. It's going to matter to you. It only doesn't matter to the people who aren't working for it. So that's the thing I learned is the financial management portion. Now, we just talked about 8 to 9 different business ventures or industries that I've been into along my journey over the last 14, 15 years, right? So when I say it's not going to happen overnight, I'm saying it's not going to happen overnight because I would say that I've only been what I would consider on a road to success for about the last two. But that's from my personal take. That's not from the take of anyone else. A lot of people will consider The first one a success, but what's a success for me and what's a success for you is relatively different. So there's not either right or wrong with that. I'm just saying for me, I would say maybe the last 2 or 3 would be my most comfortable time, and that's over a 14, 15 year period to get there. And I still want more, right? Once you get what you want, you really just kind of move the goalposts to go a little deeper and to do a little bit more. But that's just me telling you my story. Yours could very well be different. You can find your niche the first time up, second time up, third time up. What I want you to do, what I want you to know more than anything is that what you do not do is quit. You do not give up. You do not fold. You do not falter. You continue to push until you get where you're actually trying to go, until you get what you want done, done. At that point, you'll see it's it was very well worth staying. Like I know you've heard me say it before. Your success is right on the other side of your failure. But which failure, right? Um, there was a time when I was riding high in network marketing. There was a time when I wasn't. There was a time when I was riding high in club promotion. There was a time when I wasn't. There was a time in the entertainment company when everything was going great. There was a time when it wasn't. The tax company, clearly that's seasonal. So there's a time when it's doing amazing, and then there's 9 months where it's not doing a single thing. Um, the record label, there's times when you see guys winning and you're excited and you want it for them, and then there's times when the music comes out and it just don't do what it need to do, and the budget's all bad, buddy. That's real estate. Sometimes you may get stuck with a deal in real estate investment. Sometimes you buy a home in hopes of buying it and flip it and doing this, and market changes and interest rate changes and things happen, and you end up selling it hoping you can break even, or holding on to it if you got the financial durability and just using it as a rental and selling it off later. Like you gotta figure out what best suits you at that moment and do just that. So I mean, I'm here to tell you guys it will not happen overnight. It will happen, but it will not be overnight. And pray. Pray. Make sure that what you're wanting and what you do and what you're trying to do aligns with what God has in store for you. Right? Don't just be out here doing stuff. Really and truly, that's the message. It won't happen overnight, and make sure it lines up with what God has in store for you. Hey man, on that note, listen, I want to tell you guys I do apologize. We got so busy and so much was happening that we didn't get to this for a little while, right? There are some people jumping up and down on my head asking me what the next podcast is. Hey guys, here it is. You can stop calling my phones. You can get out of my DMs. I'm sorry. I got busy and I didn't get done what I should have got done. And that one's on me. That's not at all your fault. That's 100% on me, and I take full responsibility for that. But we are back, and we are going to get these things done. We're going to get these things through. This is episode 3, also known as It Won't Happen Overnight. If you like what you're hearing here, if you like the advice that you're getting, let me see you like, subscribe down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would like to hear me talk about. And we'll get those topics done as well, man. Again, I am Nomar, and this has been Dioko Podcast. Y'all be great.